So welcome back to another episode, and yes, the title is Are Game Stores Dying? And I brought on my friend here, Russell. He is half of a two-man team that runs Press Start Video Games in Vancouver here, a video game store that's been around for how many years now?
11 years.
11 years. So we're going to talk today about what it's like to run a video game store, what it's like to start a video game store, and are video game stores dying out there? How are they doing? I mean, it's such a great topic to bring up, and I was so excited to have you over here because I've been going to your store for a bunch of years.
Quite a while now.
Getting a lot of good deals on video games and things like that, and you guys have a lot of, oh my god, you have so many games there.
Maybe too much.
Maybe too much. So let's start at the beginning, when maybe you didn't have that much and you were thinking about, why would you think about opening up a video game store of all things in the world?
Okay, so years and years ago, obviously, before I opened, I used to do CNC machinery.
Yeah.
Which is, very blue collar.
Right.
And I really hated it.
Yeah.
It was not fun. It was boring, tedious. And I thought, I'm going to do something myself. And I've always played video games, did all that kind of thing. And I was like, maybe I'll just run a game store. Like, it's going to be this really easy thing to do.
Wow.
And I wrote it all up, and I realized it was going to cost a lot of money. And at the time, I had no money, and I didn't know what to do about it. So I started applying for loans with small companies. I sent out 50 business report things to different companies, maybe they'll give me a business loan. And a place called BDC, they said that they would give me $15,000 if I matched it with $15,000 to have $30,000.
And then you have to pay that back, right?
I would have to pay that back.
Right.
Yeah, So
did you have any stock at the time? Do you have any video games?
I regretfully put up my collection.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was intense. I had nothing, so I was like, I got to put something up. So at that time, I had a sizable collection.
Yeah.
That's what I decided to put forward into the store to sell.
And so how did you meet up with your partner, John?
I've known this guy since kindergarten.
Right.
So I've known him a very long time. So he's a good friend of mine. He worked in a lot of different jobs that I worked in as well.
Yeah.
So we trusted each other. Usually people say, don't get in partnership
Don't work with your friends.
Yeah,
they always say that.
Because it's going to be volatile later.
Yeah, if you have a falling out, you lose your friendship, right?
But that would never happen with me and John. We've just known each other. We're pretty much two halves of the same mind sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
We complement each other really well. With that said, he supported me in everything I did.
Right.
And he was always there, okay, let's do this, let's do that.
So did you have a conversation saying, hey, do you want to start a game store with me? Or
it was literally I'm going to start a game store. And then John was like, I'm in. That was literally the conversation.
Wow. So this is 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And so you started off in this location, a bunch of stock, right?
Yeah, not even that much.
And in an unproven location.
Yeah, not a great area.
Not a great area.
Rent was cheap, so you take what you get.
Especially in Vancouver here, rent is insane.
Oh yeah, it's nuts.
Through the roof here. So how was it? How was the first year of business? I mean, brand new store, your collection's in there, maybe a few other games are in there that you're buying up people and stuff like that. How is that first year for profitability?
Very rough.
Oh my god.
There were days where I remember I had I was like, I gotta open up new revenue streams. I put out candy.
Right.
And I was like, I'll sell candy.
Yeah.
One of the candies was only 25 cents a piece.
Yeah.
And there was a day where I had one customer and he bought one piece of candy.
Oh my.
So I've had a 25-cent day. And that's not always great.
I always try to buy something whenever I go in the store to support them and all of that. So, with that first year, did you say, I think I should get out of this, or have I made a massive mistake?
I'm not that type of person. There are people out there that they'll open a store, and if it doesn't do well, they shut down within 2 years.
Right.
I was very no, this is what I chose to do, so this is what I'm going to do.
Stick it out.
And I just kept going. I pushed through the hard times of the first. It's usually the first couple of years is the really hard years.
Yeah.
And I pushed through those because I was like, I'm not going to stop because this is what I wanted to do. If I can't do this, I have to go back, do machinery or do cooking work is what else I used to do.
Yeah.
And I did not like that. So
it wasn't for you. So
no.
What is it about running a game store that you enjoy so much? Is it about being your own boss? Is it about the video games? Is it the customers? What is the experience for you?
So ultimately speaking, for me, it's about the community.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't run like an online store that only sold to people without actually speaking to them. I don't really like that.
That's kind of soulless, isn't it?
It feels soulless to me, and so I wanted to have that community. So I opened the store the way it is with brick and mortar because I wanted to meet people, new people I didn't know before, come in and I get to talk to them and stuff. I mean, of course, you get some of the strange people. They exist. Everybody knows.
Of course.
But I've met a lot of friends along the way. Like, a lot of people that I never would have known.
I gotta say, hanging in the store, we have the best conversations. Like, I'm talking to you, and then customers come in, and we all start talking about like Chrono Trigger, how it's like the most important game, and how it means so much to us all, and stuff like that. And so you build up that community, and is that the key? Just to be good with your community, giving them deals and games, and getting them back in to come back again.
That's what kept me going.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do. It honestly had nothing to do with profitability. It had nothing to do with money. That's why those 2 years, like, I mean, even now, like, sometimes we don't do that great. Yeah. But it's not about that for me personally. Yeah. I know everybody's a little different, but when I did it, it was all for that. That's why I'm still in it today.
So you get up in the morning and you're happy to go to work.
Yeah. I mean, we all have down days.
Sure. Everybody does.
But you always second guess yourself at times. But I'm more often than not, I'm happy to be there.
So how has it gone? So the first few years were a little bit rough, and has it gone steadily just better? And then I know you told me, like, after Christmas it always kind of goes down a bit. There's a lot of businesses out there and stuff like that.
Yeah. So sometimes it's hard to notice, but yes, things have gotten better over time.
Yeah.
It's hard to notice because as you grow your store, because we were super small. Yeah. Like, they can in where we are. What I was running on $30,000 when we opened is considered like a micro business. It's barely even a home business.
Yeah, for sure.
So because of that, the growth takes a longer time, and because of costs of growing, you end up not noticing all the profits that you're starting to make because you're paying so much more to get more things, to do more things. So, but we have steadily gotten way more than we used to.
Right, and returning customers. Do you have customers that just come in every week?
Loyalty, I didn't expect so much loyalty in this business.
Isn't that cool?
It's crazy. People are super loyal to their local game store. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I thought, like, they'll just chop around or whatever. Some people will literally just wait till we specifically get something for them.
So, like, the name of the video is "Our Game Store is Dying." What is your thoughts on running a game store and your, like, view on like a lot of stores being open and then closing, and around, especially all around Canada? We can only speak for Canada.
Yeah.
And also, it's a Canadian version for anybody out there.
The U.S. is a different story, but
like, you got friends of yours that run stores and just disappeared. And
so I would say in our area there has been, in the 11-year period that I've been open, there's been about 3 or 4 game stores that have opened.
I remember one that opened up. Some guy selling his own collection.
Yeah, they've opened and closed within that period of time.
Yeah.
And that's because remember I told you about the 25-cent candy? Those years happen, so usually it's like 2 years.
Right.
They don't see profitability within that period of time. They freak out and they shut down.
Yeah, it's kind of like the test by fire.
It really is.
Either you're gonna
walking on the coals.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's scary, especially when you have a family and things. You're like, oh my God.
It's not easy for everybody to get into.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you've amassed, the store has, I should say, so many games. Like, I've gone in the back room, and it's just like, it's insane.
Stacks on stacks.
Yeah. I mean, do you sell all those games, or they just sit there for a while? Like, what is the turnover rate on those?
So how it works is we get stuff in and we sell what makes us the profit, obviously.
Trade-ins and things. Yeah.
And we do get a lot of excess. Yeah. And I've always talked to people about this because people ask, like, what do you do with, like, 50 copies of Grand Theft Auto 3 for PS2? What do you do with that? Well, the real reason we have it isn't because I'm trying to hoard Grand Theft Auto 3. It's because I don't like to say no to people, and I don't pay for, like, coupon marketing. Yeah. So I've always seen it as sort of like a coupon. Right. So somebody comes in the store and they have GTA 3, which is a very common game.
Oh, yeah.
They might give it to you to get something off something else, and that's absolutely fine. With that said, I don't care that somebody gets, like, $4 off something, and we get this game that sits in a pile in the back room.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens because it's like a coupon. I don't know if people know, but marketing coupons is really expensive.
Yes.
I did it once, and it was like In Canada, it's like $20,000-$30,000 for coupons.
So you get those games like Grand Theft Auto come in, but you must have people coming in and giving super rare games, saying, "Hey, give me $10 for this game." And, like that's hard because you want to be fair to the person, but at the same time, you're like, "That's all you want for that game." I mean, what's the moral? It's kind of hard, isn't it?
So it can be. So there's like ethics to it. Like, obviously, you want people to come back to you. So you want to treat collectors and people that are new customers really well.
Yeah.
So we've gone through this whole thing where it's like the guy that comes in with Chrono Trigger and says, "Here you go, $10. That's all I want." What do you do in that scenario? A lot of people, especially in independent buyers, like, "Oh, you buy it." You know,
you
buy this, $10. But really, the truth is if you're crystal clear about everything, that person's going to come back and bring more to you.
Right? They trust you.
They trust you. So this is how you build loyalty.
Yeah.
So I've always joked that a lot of independent resellers, people that do it on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, whatever your drive is, they just take everything they can for whatever price they can get it for, and then they come into the store. They're like, "How did you get all this stuff?" Loyalty. Yeah. You get it through being fair to the customers coming in.
So you do know how much this game is, right?
I will tell them, this game's a lot more expensive than you think.
Yeah.
So we will give you set amounts, depending on the market.
Yeah.
And then they will give it to me, and I'll tell you 9 times out of 10 they come back with more stuff later.
Isn't that funny? What's the rarest game that anybody's ever brought in and said, "Here, like, is this worth anything?"
Rarest single title.
I mean, you guys see so much coming in.
We did get a mountain bike rally speed racer combo cart for Exertainment Bike Rally speed racer combo cart for Super Nintendo.
I know that.
That was it's quite a rare title. It used to come with a big bike and everything that you'd ride. We did get that in. That was pretty rare. I've had a little Samson. I've had a Hagane in box.
Yeah, oh geez.
Which is a really
in box.
Yeah, in box.
That's
like
crazy.
Pristine. Check out our Instagram. It's on there.
How much does that go for now?
I think now it's got to be like 3-4K Canadian.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like, how is it a single copy? I remember a friend of mine had a single copy and it burnt, and he had a little fire in his place and he burnt it.
I don't know. I think
maybe about 500, 600.
Maybe like they used to be like 500, 600. I want to say they're like $1,000 now, but I don't know. I haven't checked.
It's interesting to get into that kind of idea. What's it been like seeing the prices grow over the years? Like, I was in a store the other day and I looked through the glass and I'm like, Cannon Spiker. I said, I really want to get this game, but I know it's ridiculous. I'm like, how much is it? He's like, $450, and that's a fair price. And you're like, whoa. Yeah. That's on the Dreamcast, and you're like, wow, where did it get that crazy?
I would say, especially in the last couple of years, with everything that's going on, prices have spiked. Immensely. People staying home, wanting to get back in what they had when they were kids. Nostalgia. Nostalgia really has driven the prices up. And also, just coincidentally, a lot of younger generations are getting into it at the same time. And they've got jobs and money now.
So they're buying the game.
They're buying the
GameCube games. So what's one system that you've seen in the last couple of years really spike? Like the one...
GameCube and N64.
Yeah.
They're the most.
Really?
And that's a generational thing.
Yes.
So, like, a lot of the people that had that when they were kids are now in their 20s, early 30s. And they've got jobs, they have money. What do you want to revisit? Your nostalgia.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like, there's some steady things that are like Super Nintendo has always been steady. It has raised a little bit, but not as much as like GameCube and N64 raised.
They're really going through the roof, eh?
N64 settled a little bit in the last year, but GameCube went...
So every title is like, a lot like I want to get like 4 swords for that, and I start seeing the prices. I'm like, oh my god, because I want the big box.
It's not. The big box. It's crazy. It's super expensive.
That's the one. That's the one I did want on the GameCube and all that. Yeah. And so, what do you say? Like somebody comes in the store and they're like, do you get a lot of younger people saying like, are they lost? Like, I'm talking, you know what I mean? Because we are older, so we grew up with this stuff, so we have the history.
So we knew.
Where some of them started with, which is nothing wrong with it, PS3 and the Xbox 360. Yeah. So, what is this all alien to them?
So I had, it was funny, the other day we had a customer and they were quite young, they were in their maybe late teens, early 20s, and they picked up a Nintendo cartridge, and they literally thought it would open up, and there'd be a game inside. Like it was the case. It was a case. I came through the game, and they didn't know, and their friend's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And, like, and then we had some other kids go over to like the Atari games, are like, oh, what's this for? Sega Genesis. So there's definitely a detach. Like people don't know, like in the younger crowds don't know, but they're learning about it, and that's, I think, great.
Do you have that you have younger kids coming in and they're buying older games just to see what they're like?
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
what's old to us is new to them, and especially with like retro as a genre now, coming out and kids getting into it, they're seeing these old games and it's new. It's new stuff. I had literally he was like 10 yesterday coming in, and he was obsessed with Nintendo. Yeah. Like, it was just...
The regular?
Was crazy. Yeah, regular Nintendo. Original Nintendo. Oh, my God. It was crazy to see. I loved it.
But, you know, it's fascinating from when we grew up. Like, you take it like a game like Mega Man X or something like that on the Super Nintendo. Well, you look at 3DS graphics and you see retro-style games being made now.
Yes.
It's still the same, a lot of the games.
Yeah, it
like
really
Panzer
is.
Paladin and stuff like that. It's just a throwback to 16-bit games. So they're still doing it. So... like, kids will play Panzer Paladin now, and they go, "Oh wait, but that's like the older games too." So it's still kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what's kind of.
It's not like the Atari. The Atari. When I look back at the Atari, I go, "Ooh."
It looks bad, like little bricks. Like, hey, we're a tank.
Even when I had the Atari 2600 as a kid, I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I remember doing the Empire Strikes Back level over and over, and I'm like, oh god. I mean, even as a kid, but it was when I got the Nintendo, I was like, oh, it's kind of like the arcade games, and and then the Super Nintendo was, oh my god. Yeah. Then we became absolutely ridiculous. So it's nice to hear that kids are still coming in to the store, they're learning, they're interested. That's what I'm most interested in.
It's still there. Yeah. You know, it's still there. I wouldn't say it's like booming, but it's there, and that's good to see.
Here, I'm gonna ask a really off the wall question here. What for the people that come into the store? How many are male oriented, like at a percentage?
Is it demographically speaking?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, male or female, you know.
I think especially with the newer generations, you'll see a lot of more of a mixture. Yeah. It's the older generations that are predominantly male. Yeah. But newer generations, lots of young girls and boys alike getting into games. But definitely with older generations, it's definitely mostly males. Well, like my 40-year-old gamers out there, like it's all usually guys.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, man. I know you're.
No way. I take no offense to this. I take no. It's funny because I saw the break in that. I think it was when Final Fantasy VII came out. Yeah. It was that time when all of a sudden I would go to my local anime store, and there'd be a lot of girls in there talking about Final Fantasy VII, where it was a different time, and all of a sudden you got the N64, Ocarina of Time. Yeah. All of a sudden that came out.
Zelda's really.
And then all of a sudden, I mean, and I'm not saying that girls didn't play video games; they certainly did.
You started to notice.
But it started becoming more noticeable, and I think they were more going to game stores and stuff like that. It's becoming more like that. So it's really nice to see
mainstream.
Yeah. Do you ever worry that you have so much stock? You're like, are we ever going to sell all this stock?
I have thought about that before. There's facets out there. You can go online and sell some things online. Obviously, that's a good way to get excess out. Yeah. But yeah, you get worried about it sometimes. Maybe just donate it all. Yeah. Who knows?
Well, here's the funny thing. Do you think that you're going to do this for the long run? I mean, you've done it for 11 years. I mean, this is what you know now. This is what you're good at.
Good question. So this goes back into the art game stores dying.
Yeah.
You think about that, especially with the way
digital?
But you know, we deal in retro stuff, so that'll always be around no matter what.
I think so.
Yeah. No matter what, there's always going to be that one to collect.
I remember talking to different video game store owners back in 2009, 10, and they're like, "It's over."
Yes.
Because of digital, they thought it was over.
Yeah, when I started, it was over. Everybody was like, "Don't do it, it's over. Don't do it." I got that from warning from other game stores at the time. That don't do this. The market's going to change in 1 to 2 years. It's all going to be digital. You're going to be dead in the water. Blah 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 blah. But the thing is retro's really had a resurgence.
Oh yeah.
We definitely have more people coming in. Our game store's dying. It's hard right now. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend somebody doing it if you have no passion for it and you just want to make a quick buck. Stay independent. Don't open brick and mortar because unless you have a huge bankroll.
I guess
there's people out there that do. You know, I have $1 million in the bank. Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Knock yourself out. Have fun. Enjoy it. But you have to want to do it. I've always told people that has nothing to do with money. You have to want to do it.
But I'm telling you, even EB Games, GameStop here in Vancouver, I have lost a couple of them in the last few years.
Right?
Yeah.
Already.
I lost the one up in Queensboro. Lost the one in Surrey.
Vancouver shut down too.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. It's kind of, how is it like Amazon must really it's a major effect. I mean,
well, they don't
do the retro.
Yeah, they don't do the retro, but I mean, when it comes to new games like PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, whatever, they don't make it easy for the small guys to get a bite.
Yeah,
they make it very difficult. So we have to do pre-orders on purpose because we can't just afford to buy like 100 copies of something and sit on 50 of them.
Yeah,
you know, like you can't afford that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Some of these game companies do not tailor to small game stores.
They don't.
It's just to like the Best Buys and
they give
the
them price guarantees. I used to work at Walmart. I know that like any unsold stock, hey, we can send it back and get our money. They don't do that for a lot of small stores. Some stores with more volume they might. I am still quite small. I know there's bigger, smaller stores out there, even in Canada. That do better than we do. But the simple fact is they still don't cater to the smaller companies as much as they cater to like Best Buys or Toys R Us or whatever.
Yeah. So having a game store, is it fun?
Yes. Ultimately, it's good. It is fun.
Good.
It's good. There are down periods in it. It can at times feel like a struggle, but like I said before, you have to really have the passion to want to do it. That's the most.
What's the worst thing about having a game store?
That's a very good question.
because that as a multifaceted thing, you'd be like, oh man, we didn't make that much money this month, or oh man, like we bought too much stuff.
When you take your passion and you turn it into a business model, there's gonna be times where you're gonna be almost depressed with your own thing that you like to do, and that's because like you're not making enough money. Yeah, You're not doing what you have to do just to stay in business. The business side of it, the taxes, all this kind of stuff. The competitors coming in and saying, oh, you should do it this way, or people telling you how to run your business. Things like that really make you jaded at times.
Jade is a good. That's a pretty good word for it. But I mean, we talk so much that you're still passionate about games.
Yeah.
I mean,
but not everybody's the same.
Yeah. Now the thing is, I always feel bad for you because you're running this game store, and I walk in and I'm like, hey, and then you kind of have to go, hey man, how you doing? And you have to kind of turn it on. Yeah. And you can't just be like, hey, type of thing. And you're always turning on for any customer that comes in. You're always right there for them. Mm-hmm. That's hard. I'm saying it's hard to be always up and always talking about video games and collecting must drive you crazy. Because it's not a bad thing.
Repetitive conversations. So we'll have the same conversation about the same thing with multiple customers, even sometimes in a week or a day. Yeah, and that's fine, especially if it's like in the news. Yeah, like when Microsoft buys a company, we're like, oh, I'm gonna have to talk about this like 40 times this week. Yeah. Oh. And it's fine. Everybody has their opinions, but that can get tiring. That's a bad part of the job.
Yeah. Or somebody comes in. Oh, did you hear Mario 64 sold for 1.1 million?
Oh. I have talked about that many times. Me and Rob
lightly talked about it because it was in the news and it was a big scheme and stuff like that and all that. And everybody's like, "Do you know it was a scheme?" Well, we didn't. I mean, we just read it. Just like any of you out there.
Yeah, if I have to talk about WADA anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
you talk about it a lot, and that happens often. Repetitive conversations is definitely a negative of running a small game store.
It is a negative, but I tell you something. Every time I'm in the local area and I go to press start video games, I always have a good time. Yeah. And I always discover something funny. I was like saying to you last time I was there, I'm like there's so many games around, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, what the hell is going on over here? You're like, what? You think it's like something? I'm like, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons in the Sega Saturn.
Oh yeah, up on the thing. Yeah,
I thought that was a big deal. It's just kind of like tucked away up there and all of that kind of.
I kind of like to scatter things around so that people keep drawing the eye in different places.
Oh yeah.
Like people will come in and like, oh, are all your games in alphabetical order? And I'm like, no.
Nope.
I don't want them to be.
Neither am I.
I want you to spend hours here looking for something, so you eventually have to speak to me.
Yeah, and then you'll eventually find some gold there because I absolutely found some gold there and all of that. Is there any more advice you want to give to anybody who wants to open up a game store out there?
If you're gonna do it, want to do it. Also, be sure that you're in it. It's so weird to say. It's hard to explain. It's an emotional thing. Yeah. You really, really have to want to do it. Right now, it's really hard to just jump in. You either have a bunch of stuff already to sell, like, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm going to open a store next week.
It's like, let's go.
Happy Console Gamer Store,
a lot of stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Or you want to do it, or you have a giant bankroll and it's your passion. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah.
But there are downsides. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I have to mention this. This is a big downside. I'm just thinking about just before we're going to, stop. But one of them is we used to joke about spoilers. Right. But you know how, things come out? You want to watch it or play it before anybody has.
Right.
Because people talk about it.
Oh,
it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh man, I have to get that new game and I have to play it through in the next 2 days. Because if I don't, I'm going to hear about it 30 times.
Well, even for me doing the show, I just was playing Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes.
And I even blacked out certain locations and things you were supposed to do in the game because I don't want to ruin anything.
Exactly.
Because it's the worst. To be honest with you, it's a good thing to bring up in general. If there's a new show I want to watch, I'll watch it instantly. It's streaming because it'll thumbnails on the internet. I mean, I was watching.
You're scrolling and you're like, oh,
Mandalorian. So it's like I won't even ruin it for you.
Yeah.
There's just spoilers. Like an hour later.
Yeah.
Nothing can be saved anymore without the internet. I mean.
And it happens with the brick and mortar store. People come in and they want to talk to you because you're your friend. They want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Everything. How did you think about that? Oh no.
Oh,
I used to want to put up a sign like no spoilers. We won't take your trades if you spoil anything.
Yeah, don't spoil anything. We're passionate about this as well. And I just want to thank Russell for coming over today and talking to us about this store and his experiences with it. I just find it so fascinating and so amazing that you've run it for so long. You're still around, and I'm wishing you all the best even going forward. So if you are in the Vancouver area, drop on by, press start video games, and support your local game store because they are a relic of a different time, and we still hope that they will last the long run. I mean, you're competing against GameStop, and they're going out of business.
Yeah,
so that's what's changing. That's what's absolutely crazy. So, anyways, guys, until next time.